Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We're going to take a fascinating journey into the building blocks of English conversation, looking specifically at mastering B1 grammar. If you've ever found yourself pausing mid-sentence, searching for the exact right word, or just wondering if what you said sounded completely unnatural to a native speaker, you are in the right place. We're going to take those common B1 English stumbling blocks and turn them into solid stepping stones for fluent, natural conversation. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to look at asking the right questions, describing people and things, mastering the past and present, avoiding tricky word traps, sounding more natural in English, and finally, how to practice all of this effectively. Okay, let's dive right into it. Section 1, asking the right questions. Specifically, who versus whose. You know, one of the most common literal translation traps learners fall into is pointing at an item and asking, who is this coat? But in English, who is literally only for people. Like, who is that doctor? If you want to know who owns something, you absolutely have to use whose. Whose coat is this? It's just a tiny spelling shift, but wow, it's a massive shift in meaning. Grasping this little distinction is going to instantly boost your conversational accuracy. Now, English questions, they absolutely love structure. It's basically a math equation. You've got your question word, plus your auxiliary verb, plus your subject, plus your main verb. So where did you go? And here is a golden rule you need to remember. Right after an auxiliary verb like did in the past tense, the main verb always bounces back to its base form. So it is always, where did you go? Never, ever, where did you went? Lock that formula into your brain, and you will build flawless questions every single time. All right, let's look at getting descriptions. There is a massive trap here. Asking, what was the weather like yesterday, is perfectly correct. But saying, how was the weather like yesterday, is entirely wrong. The rule is super strict on this. The second you use the word like to ask for a description, you can never ever use how. It legally has to be what. You can totally say, how was the weather, but if you drop like at the end, it has to start with a what. Moving right along to section 2, describing people and things. Be, look, and look like. Let me ask you this directly. If someone says, what does he look like? What's your gut reaction to say? For a lot of learners, the immediate reflex is to jump straight to personality traits, right? You might say, oh, he is sweet and kind. But actually, answering that way completely misunderstands what's being asked. And this breaks it down perfectly into 3 distinct buckets. Think of be plus an adjective, like he is kind, as real character traits or hard facts. Then, look plus an adjective, like he looks tired, is just about how someone appears right in that specific moment. But when we use look like plus a noun, like he looks like his dad, we are strictly asking about physical resemblance. So going back to our question, what does he look like, is specifically a request for a physical description, not a personality profile. You want to answer with, he's tall with fair hair, instead of, he's sweet. Okay, section 3, mastering the past and present. The classic showdown, went versus been. Let's put went and been head to head. You use the past simple, went, for a finished action at a finished time. I went to the clinic yesterday. Yesterday is over, the action is done. But we use the present perfect, been, for life experiences or unfinished time. A super common spot where learners get tripped up is talking about traveling and returning. If I want to ask about your life experiences up to today, I'll ask, have you ever been to Italy? We use been because it's about your whole life experience up to now, not one specific finished date on a calendar. Next up is section 4, avoiding tricky word traps, specifically adjectives versus nouns. English absolutely loves having adjectives and nouns that look incredibly similar, but you really can't mix them up. Take safe and safety. Safe is the adjective describing a thing, like this area is safe. But safety is the noun, the actual concept itself. Patient safety is a priority. You would never say this area is very safety. We see the exact same pattern with nice and nicety. Now, honestly, nicety is a pretty rare word. Unless you're writing a script for an 18th century period drama, you probably don't mean to use nicety when you're just trying to say a town is nice. Just stick to the adjectives after words like is, was, or very. All right, into section 5, sounding natural in English with everyday collocations. So, a collocation is really just a group of words that native speakers naturally stick together. You cannot translate these word by word from your native language, it just won't work. For example, in English, we say go to the gym, never go for the gym. We go on holiday, not go in holiday. We might say someone is short for his age or has fair hair. By learning these chunks of words as whole set phrases, you completely bypass that clunky word-by-word translation phase. You just pull the whole phrase right out of your memory bank, ready to go. Now check out this tiny pronunciation fix that makes a massive difference. The word answer. The letter W here is completely 100% silent. It's answer. Now sure, it's totally fine to pronounce the W in normal words like word or world, but here, just pretend it doesn't even exist. Fixing this one specific word is a real game changer. It instantly makes your English sound significantly more polished. And finally, Section 6, how to practice effectively and turn these rules into habits. Look, I totally get that language learning can feel a bit overwhelming sometimes. So here's a really simple 4-part checklist to make these habits stick. First, just do your practice worksheets once. Second, review the model answers for anything you missed. Third, and I love this one, put on a comfortable TV series in English with the subtitles on. Grab a snack, sink into the couch, and just watch. You aren't actively studying here, you're just letting your brain absorb the correct forms, like went versus been or go on holiday over and over again with zero pressure. And fourth, just bring any leftover questions to your next study session. As we wrap up the core of this explainer, I really want to remind you that making mistakes is just part of the process. It's how we learn. If you're following along with this explainer, you honestly probably already communicate really well. You're getting your point across. The grammar rules and phrases we've talked about today, they're just small fixes. Think of them as fine-tuning adjustments to help you sound a bit more precise and confident. So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about everything we've explored today, from swapping who for whose, to ditching that silent W in answer, to grabbing whole chunks of words like go on holiday. Which small fix are you going to deliberately practice today in your next English conversation? Pick just one, give it a try, and watch your confidence skyrocket. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.